Hey, everybody. What is up? Welcome. And this is technically day three of the grind, bearish, abstract, vibe code hackathon. Thank you so much. Today we've got a full agenda of stuff to go over. So I am not going to waste a lot of time today. But what I do want to say is welcome. Hope you've had a great few days so far. I know we haven't had quite as many workshops as the last one, but all of our previous workshops are available on YouTube at youtube.com slash at bearish underscore AF. Also, the resources are in the Discord as well as a builders chat. So if you're not in the bearish Discord, please join. We have a lot of resources in there. You can connect with other vibe coders and builders and get some tips and tricks and help each other out. I will also say that the VC is always open if you guys want to jump in the Discord, open up a VC chat, share what you're working on, troubleshoot, test. It's a great way to kind of, just build up the vibes for what we're doing this week. Really excited. I've seen some stuff already. I've seen a clicker game and some other stuff. But what we're going to show you today is we're going to go over kind of just the grind website, some things that we added recently and get you going. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in and verify my account. So this is grind.bearish.af. This is going to be your kind of home for your project. I'm going to sign the message again. This is going to be your home for your project. So it's where you're going to want to go to set up your team, set up your project, submit your project. A lot of this is going to happen within the grind.bearish.af website. So what is going on? I was just logged in a second ago, so let me refresh this page maybe. And maybe it's something to do with me sharing this page. We'll see. All right. Wait for signature, sign and continue. There we go. Now I'm in. All right. So this is where you're going to want to go. You'll want to go sign in, set up your profile. So you can set your name. You can add a link for your bio. You can add your Twitter, etc. Your skill set. It'll show active hackathons and teams that you've created. So I've kind of created a test, and then I created my hackathon team, and also your projects. So I'm already in a team, but if you're not in a team and you're setting up your first project, there'll be a button here to say create team. You'll go ahead and create that and then fill out the information on that. But I can kind of show you what that looks like. You can edit your project, give it a name. Once you have like a testing URL for your app or game that you develop, you can pop it in there. If you have a X URL, you can do that. If it's a Discord or a GitHub, you set your banner URL, logo URL, a video. If you have like a YouTube or Vimeo video that's going to show like a demo or anything like that, and then just kind of your project description. And then if you have any screenshots, you can add images and save your project. Once we start opening up, once you're kind of like ready to go, you can submit the project to us. You can also update your submission until the submission period ends. You'll basically select a track for it and then update the submission. So that's going to be really what we're going to use for collecting all the submissions this time around. We built out this dashboard. We built out the project page. I can show you my project that I'm working on. So if I go to the project page, you can see all the other projects, but mine is GTV Legends project called Grind the Vote. I've got Irish and Rock on my team. Just what we're doing here is we're going to be creating Grind the Vote. It's a vote to earn app that will implement the use of Grind to verify voting on polls to provide more fair and balanced polling, establishing fairness, eliminating bots, and rewarding voters. So that's kind of what I've been building the last couple of days, and have Irish and Rock for testers and ideas. If I were ready to submit my project, I can go in and submit my project. I would probably choose the token integration because I'm doing a use case for token integration, and you can choose one of the bounties and things like that. So I would recommend getting your project set up, recruiting your team members. When you go to a project, So if I go to another project, you can request to join a project. So once you set up your initial project, you can take this link up at the top. You can share it with all the other team members, have them request to join, and then you as the admin who set up the project can accept them to your team. I would recommend telling them to set up their profile first, making sure that they have their name set so that you can easily see. Otherwise, you're going to have to verify their wallet address. So set up your profile, do it today, set up your project, set up your team to get you going and getting ready for the submissions, which will, we can start taking submissions on Friday and get those going until Sunday. So super excited about that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the Bearish Builder chat. But we just launched this yesterday, but it's a great way for us to track everything. We've got an admin dashboard built and will allow us to actually score the projects within here too. So you'll be able to see your score and get some feedback. So we got some better feedback loops as well. So I'm going to take it back to the main page. Some additional things that we added to the main page is getting testnet tokens. So this button here will actually add the abstract testnet to your MetaMask. You can also add it manually if you want. There's a couple faucets that you can get abstract testnet ETH. Well, actually, I believe it's there's a couple different ways to get it. There's testnet ETH on ETH mainnet that you can bridge over to abstract, and then there's also some faucets that have abstract testnet ETH. So you're going to need that eventually if you're going to do any kind of deployments of a contract or use of token integration. You're going to need abstract testnet ETH. So make sure to get that. And then we also have a request form if you want to get testnet grind that you want to kind of implement into your project. We've got a form here for that we'll send out some grind that we created, or this is a fun thing that we developed. And I'll talk to Scotty. Actually developed this after I had created my own grind coin on testnet the hard way through Cursor and deploying myself. But we created this token creator. So this is one thing that you can do to set up your own testnet mock token. If you don't want to wait for an airdrop of the testnet token, you can create your own. So let's go ahead and go through this process just so you can see how easy it is. So I'm going to call this token name Grindy Mock. I'm going to give it a symbol. So just say GMK. You can do a logo if you want. Description. This is just a mock token. And then go to the next step. Basic information, set your supply. This is just set to 1 million. You want to leave 18 there. Next step. Oh, I'm not on abstract testnet. Okay, let's switch it. Once you create this token, it's going to send all the tokens to your wallet that you have connected. If you have a team members and you want to send them stuff as well, you can actually airdrop just need their wallet addresses, put in the amount, and you can add additional recipients. Or you can just send it to your wallet and then, give it to them, transfer it manually. So I'm gonna go ahead and create the token. Just needs me to sign and approve the transaction. And what I'm doing right now is deploying a mock token on abstract testnet, and it has successfully been deployed. There's a transaction hash here. You can view your wallet. You can see how to use it. But I'm gonna go ahead and open up the transaction hash. So you can see it on the testnet explorer. So as you can see, it has processed. If I go over here to GRMK, this is my token name. That will take me to the contract itself. It's still in deployment, so it doesn't have any transactions yet, but it will finish soon. But I can copy this contract address, add it to my MetaMask wallet on abstract testnet, and I'll be able to see those tokens in my wallet, transfer them, use them in anything that I build. So that's the contract address. If I go back, how to use this token? Okay, well, I'm gonna put in my token address. Gives me all the information about it, contract address, my balance. I can transfer tokens here as well, just to make it easier. And then we've also included some token integration prompts that you could use in Cursor VO to implement your token that you've launched. So there's something to implement a token balance checker. So you can just copy and paste that into your AI chat. There's a token integration. So maybe you want to build a token gated access feature that only allows users with at least 10 tokens to access the premium content. You could do that. There's implementing this for AI coding assistance, a token analytics dashboard, a complete token interface with WAGMI to V2 and VM. That just kind of gives you the ability to kind of see a complete component with hooks like wallet balance, transferring, a max button, loading states, etc. So these are kind of placeholder values. You want to change this to your token contract address. So if you ever see any address in here, this is just a generic address. You want to change that if you're going to implement one of these to your token address. And the other thing is there was an announcement in the news, the builders resources section. If you do deploy a token, include it in your project descriptions. Like, we've launched a testnet token. This is the contract address. And there's a couple wallets in the resources section where you want to send some test tokens to us as a team so that when we go through and test it, we can test that as well. So, all right, I'm going to check the chat real quick. Let's see if there's anything. Grind.bearish.af. So it's grind.bearish.af. So there's two dots. Try that. YOLO, Scotty. YOLO. Thanks for building this. The funny thing is, I had actually deployed my own mock token called Grind mock token before you built this out for everybody. So you made their lives much easier. You made my life about an hour less easier. But we're not going to talk about that. All right, so this other getting started section, we've got projects and teams. So this is kind of just an overview. What do you need to do, right? Team management, create your team, create a project. Joining a team, you can request to join. Make sure to share your link with all your other team members if you have teams. Managing team members, if you created the project, you can add members by sharing the link, but also you can approve and reject people and remove them if necessary. The project submission. So this is the most important part. Once you get to that point, get a project title, make sure it's clear and descriptive. Make sure you have a description of what it does, what's the problem it's solving, or is it just a fun game? If you have any links to your code or a demo link, make sure to include that. Team members and their roles. So list their roles in the description as well. Any kind of key frameworks or tools that you use, that's kind of helpful to know. If you do deploy a mock token on testnet, give us the contract address so that we can hunt you down for tokens if you don't send them to us. And then once you finalize everything and deploy your demo, you want to submit your project from the project page, fill out all the additional fields, screenshots, and then make sure everything is accurate and submit it. And then we will go once we close down submissions on Sunday evening, I believe, we will start the review process. We'll get some additional streamers on board to review all the fun apps and games that you've created, and it's going to be fun. All right, so that covers the new stuff on the website, token creator, setting up your project, and now we can get into some vibe coding with me. We'll spend probably about 30-40 minutes here. I'm going to show you what I built. I'll tell you what I used, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the chat. I'll check it. You should be able to submit, edit, and resubmit until the deadline. So if you made a mistake or you need to make some changes or updates, totally fine. It just gives us an idea of how many people are building, what projects to expect, and then we'll be able to verify all the submissions. So I feel like we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 official ones and some test ones. We'll see. Let me see whose this is. To infinity and beyond. So definitely, I would recommend doing this today, just so that we can get an idea of who's working on what and what to expect. It gives us some insight, and it's a lot better process. So shout out to Scotty for building this. All right, so let me show what I've been building. And we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, my Grind the Vote app, a vote to earn app. So what I've been using is V0. So this might be interesting because I had to reset everything to share my entire browser. So let us see. I'm going to go into my actual V0 backend. Let's try this again. All right. So this is my V0 backend. I have set up a project called Voting Protocol. I forked it off to create the Grind protocol because I wanted to go back to a version I had previously. And I'll kind of just walk through the V0. If you're not familiar with it, v0.dev is what I use to create my apps. It is free to start, but you'll probably run out of prompts pretty quickly. I paid $20 a month for the premium. It gives me all the prompts that I need, and it's pretty useful tool for me. If I go back to my original idea, I can kind of show you what I did originally. We'll go all the way back. There was 43 versions of this that I deployed. But I'll just kind of give you some insight into what I did. Had a lot of debugging that I needed to do, so I added some debugging panels because there was a lot. So as you can see, a lot of messages that I created. What is the problem I'm trying to solve here? It's all those engagement farming polls on Twitter, right? Like why do they have so many bots? Can we get some accurate data? So what about using an on-chain voting protocol system? So this is my initial prompt. I want to build an on-chain voting protocol system called Grind the Vote, uses Abstract Global Wallet Connect, can create and vote polls using Grindcoin, to validate the creation and the votes. And the website should originally I was like, the website should feel very patriotic with hints of green. And as you can see my hat, it says I definitely voted on it, which is a joke. All right, so the user connects the wallet. They pay 10 grind to vote on a poll. They can pay 25 grind to create a poll. It's all collected and transferred to the custody wallet. They can set the name, some options, end time, and publish the poll. And then there's also a share link to Twitter so that they can share that poll to Twitter. The homepage will show all the active polls, recently ended polls. You kind of think of all the mechanics that you want for your app and your game, at least on that initial, and then you might have to go in and fine tune a bit with some additional prompting. But each poll should have its own page. That's important for sharing on social media. Polls should have real-time progress bars. There should be a current leader that's highlighted in green. They need to have persistent data across all user sessions. So when I sign in, I should be able to see the same persistent data that Rebirth will see when he signs in. That's important. So if that requires an integration with Supabase, I'll need help installing and implementing that data collection and servicing. So, just let them know, like, I need that framework just to have as a fallback database for polls, for votes, for some additional things that I've added recently. Voting on the poll, so the user connects their wallet, sees all the active polls. They can choose one to vote on, select some options to vote, and then it triggers a transaction for 10 grind coin, records the response, updates the poll. And then I told them, let's just start there. I'll share the integration next and provide a grind coin testnet contract address later. So that's just, I wanted to get that started first. So it helped me walk through the Supabase integration to handle persistent data. It gave me some code that I could run into. So here's my Supabase. So there's a SQL editor. So it gave me some code that I could paste in here and then run, and then it creates the tables for me. In my table editor, I can go in and see the tables that it was created. So here's my polls table. And this kind of just stores all that data so that I have a backup of it. Shows the creator address, who created the poll, when it was created, the end time, when it's supposed to end. That's the custody wallet. Transaction hash, because I've actually implemented an on-chain voting protocol contract that I deployed. So it kind of keeps all that information in there for me, keeps the poll options separate, keeps the votes separate tables, lets me know who voted by address, and then if it's when it was created and what the option they chose. So it kind of just did all the tables for me and helped me implement it into my code. And then I said, oh yeah, great. So here's an example. So like create table SQL. I just copy that, ran it into my SQL editor, and then it created that poll management system for me. Cool. From there, I had some errors, so I just fed the errors to it, and it told me, here's an updated code that you can run. And then it went through that process. I'm going to go through to the bottom here, and one of the things that I wanted to do was create a contract, right? I wanted to create a voting contract where I could then deploy it. So I'm going to go back to where that was. These are just some wallet connection solutions that I was trying to do, added some fallback components, had some syntax errors with the wallet. So you can tell there's a lot of trial and error that goes into vibe coding sometimes, but I think it's important to see how the sausage is made. So you can see a lot of the things that I had to do. And then eventually I was like, frig it, I'm going to go and fork off like the last working version and start over. And that's why I've got a fork of this code, because I was trying desperately to make it work. Anyways, that's what happens. So I'm going to go through some debugging tools, how to use key changes. It kind of tells you everything that it's doing after it does it. So it's good to know. Just kind of read through the description, get a little education in the process. I've got some transaction issues I need to work through still. I don't know if I'll do it on this stream, but it's good to see that. All right, so cool. I got into a situation where I wanted to have a voting contract. It actually wrote the contract for me, but in order for me to deploy it, I had to use terminal on my computer and also cursor to actually fix the contract code and then deploy it. Probably a little bit more complex for most people, but it is possible. Now, that contract probably needs some additional validation and definitely an audit before it goes to mainnet or after mainnet. And it will need an audit. But I think it was very cool for me, who has never launched a smart contract before, to actually be able to use V0 to write the contract code for both the mock token that I deployed, as well as my voting contract. I asked to make it an upgradable voting contract, so that it has a proxy that the site will interact with. So I think it's fairly in depth. Felt pretty solid about it. Anyways, so let's go take a look at, I'm going to go back to my forked version. So if I do make any changes, I will use it on my forked version. But V0 is awesome. It gives you a preview of what you're building here. So it's basically like a mini browser. There's a pop out as well. So you can pop it out into another browser window like this, and see it in full version. You can also take this link. It's not a secure link, so you could share this with your team members. So if you're working solo and you want to, you made an update and you want to share what the current version is, this is a link that you can share with somebody to test out what you built. If you make any changes, your version number is going to update. So this is version 36, which means this link is version 36. If you deploy version 37, this link is going to change, so you'll have to send them a new link. There's a full screen mode here. This select is really great for if you want to change something on a particular area, you can apply a quick change to a particular button or title or text or color. So that's really useful to use as well. If you're like, oh man, I messed up, I want to go back to a previous version, just click on the version, and there will be, in the chat, there will be a kind of recover, redeploy, revert option. Or what I like to do is fork it off and create a new version, so that I feel like I'm starting back at V35. I'm just going to fork it and start over. That's a really great way to do that. You can also preview the code that is actually written, and you can download your code. So you can download your code as a shad or a zip. Okay, cool. So let's take a just look at what this is all about. So you sign in, you see the balance of grind that you have. You can create a poll. So I need a poll question. How good is rebirth at Cambria? Let's see. So, okay, not bad. Legend. I can set the poll duration. So let's just say 24 hours, and then I can publish this poll for 25 grind. Oops, fail. Error to create poll. Let's see. Try that again. Let me go back and pull my. Maybe I was on an old link. Let's try that again. Reload this bad boy and see what we get. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that poll. Maybe it didn't like that I was making fun of Rebirth. That's fine too. How good is Rebirth at Cambria? Great. Not bad. So. What's Cambria? We're going to go ahead and try that poll creation again. All right. So I'm getting failed to create poll. Please try again. Why? Why am I getting that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the poll here. I'm going to just do test. You need at least 2 options. I'm just going to publish the poll here. Error checking token allowance. Well, let's go ahead and fix that. So I just click that button, threw it into, it's going to throw that into the chat and see if it fixes it. How often do you fork in V0? Yeah, about 60 versions or so. I do it about every 30 versions, depending. It's really a preference up to you, because you can always revert to a previous version that you liked or that was working. So now it's looking at the error. It is telling me that the issue, the address token allowance function is undefined, which is weird because it was working previously. So we'll just let that go through. It's going to go through and write up all the code. You can watch it if you like watching code being written, or you can just wait until it's done and do something else for a little bit. All right, so let's see what we got in the chat here. Could not log in to AGW from mobile, Safari, or Chrome. Watching from a MetaMask browser right now. Yeah, I actually had that same problem recently, and I've had to log into my AGW from my MetaMask browser, which it feels like a little bit of a wallet inception in a way. Like I just feel like I'm wallet to wallet to wallet to wallet to wallet to wallet to wallet. All right, getting some good tips. Yeah, hopefully they're good. Runtime error. Yeah, that's just because I had to restart everything. Okay. All right, so there we go. Still writing code. So this is the fun part about vibing. So I'm gonna go check on my Bitcoin while it's writing code. Okay, see what's going on in my Bitcoin room. Again, I have to connect all my wallets because let's see what's the announcements. The diesel hybrid is no longer at discount. Hope you got one. All right, there's my diesel. It's pumping. I can clean my mind. My mind big. Good stuff. I'm still writing code. Okay. I guess I should probably put that like, hey, I'm doing a thing about I'm playing big or whatever. Let's go ahead and claim my mind. Hey, $13. All right. That is a Jersey Mike's sub sandwich for Carlo. I'm gonna get the big size. All right, here we go. We're back. It's reloading, and we'll see what we got. All right. So I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna YOLO it. I'm gonna go out and see if it actually is working in the full screen view. So connect wallet. That is probably why it couldn't connect. It's probably because I wasn't signed in. All right. That might be the reason, and I might have just made the bot do nothing for nothing. All right. So how good is Rebirth at Cambria? All right. Great. Awesome. So. needs to do better. Okay, let's publish this now. Let's see what we got. All right, so now I got a transaction request. This is just to approve it, submitted, created the poll. Awesome. All right, so my poll is created. And now if anybody comes to this, they can share this poll on Twitter. They can vote on it. So I'm going to go ahead and vote. He's awesome because I played with him this morning. I'm going to pay for my vote. And it's been submitted, and I can look it on the thing. And then there's a 24-hour cooldown. So, all right, well, I got to wait 24 hours before I can vote again. I'll have to pay again. And the one thing that I added this morning was I added a raffle. So what this means is that 25% of the grind that is collected will be raffled to one lucky voter when the poll ends. So in 24 hours, I can come back and see if I won some grind for voting on this poll. So it's kind of like a interesting concept, vote to earn, maybe loosely inspired by Elon Musk and his efforts in Wisconsin, where he was paying people to go and vote. So if I go back to the polls, I can go see all the active polls. I can also look at, here, like example, right? Which floor should I sweep? Just put in a bunch of options. If I go on to look at one of the pages, I can actually see the raffle results for ended polls, right? So there's only 2 votes on this one. So that was 20 collected. So prize is 5, but you can see the winner address. I also have in my database a table for raffle winners so that I can see wallet addresses. If I need to do any troubleshooting, I can see the prize amount, the winner address, and make sure that that gets deployed to the winner if necessary. So that's that. You can see the completed polls. You can create polls. Do you like abstract? 100% yes, I like abstract. And I also created an about page. So I think about pages are important for apps. It's something that you want to have for like, well, what is it that you're trying to achieve? It's almost like your project description, right? So you tired of engagement farming polls being botted to hell? Well, those days are over. It's time to grind the vote with the people's coin. Grind. So you create polls, vote, get real results. Create polls for 25, vote on polls for 10. And I have this in my voting contract. I have functions to update the price per vote and price per creation. I think that's important to kind of think about if you are pricing anything, is to make sure that you have a function or a tool to update that. Because if grind goes to, I don't know, 1 billion market cap, it might get too pricey and you might need to go bring it down, right? Or vice versa, maybe you want to get more because it's at $250,000 market cap. Maybe you want to have people create for more. Me, I'm just kind of like setting it here, small amount, hopefully, and then you can adjust as needed. But really, I'm more interested in like, can this be used to block the bots? Can we validate with a token? So here's some blockchain information. This is not this is my information, right? So this is my contract. You can see the contract address. Look at it on the Explorer. This is my grind token that I launched. You can see it on the Explorer. This is not the actual contract address for grind. This is my token contract address. So that's a mock token, just so you know. But I just put something about grind and then just a little how it works, right? So, and then I've added socials and stuff like that to the bottom. But these are just kind of the things that I've been working on for the vote, grind the vote, grind to 1 billion market cap. Yeah, I mean that would be pretty dope. If that is the case, and that means that our price, if grind goes to $1 billion market cap, that means that the prize pool for this would be what, $1 million? Is that right? Someone do my math. It'd be 1% of a billion. Whoever does the math first wins the prize. All right, so let me check if there's any questions. Does anybody have any questions? Is this helpful? I think I'm streaming this to Twitter too, but I don't know. Maybe I should check if there's comments on that. It's the first time I'm doing that. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. This is my second stream. There's 120 people watching on Twitter. That is insane. Yeah, so leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you have any ideas that you think I should implement, that would be cool too. I will say that I will be submitting this as an official submission, but I will not be accepting any prizes for it. So it's mostly just to kind of show an example. Unfortunately, Irish and Rock, you're not going to be eligible for any prizes from this particular project. But if you start your own project or join another team, you definitely will be able to. But I think it's important for me to say that in full transparency. But that doesn't mean that I don't plan to deploy this. I think it's actually a cool concept, and would be fun to see if we can actually make this work. Imagine if you were to say, "Hey, um, I'm actually doing a poll. It's the voting is on chain, and you can actually win a prize for voting. So it has the reward built in, right? Sure, you need to get grind, and you have to have an abstract wallet, but it would be just hopefully a better way to kind of get real results. And one of the things I was thinking about doing, and maybe I should ask the chat to see. Um, I did. Was this helpful? Yeah, digital trophies. I've got to ask, was this helpful? One of the things I was thinking about adding was the ability to essentially, after a poll has been completed, be able to mint that poll results onto the blockchain as kind of like a flex. So every time the space riders win a poll, Zubik can mint it and then have a collection. Oh, it's 10 million. Okay. 1% of 1 billion is 10 million. Thank you. Math is not mathing for me today. But yeah, every time Space Riders wins a poll of, what project should I buy, then he can go mint the results on chain and have a whole collection of his trophies, a trophy case of wins for the past 3 years. So that's kind of what I've been doing. All right, grind to 1 billion. CJ78, thank you for that 1% math. I could have done it, but I would have had to open up my phone and do a calculation that way. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions about what I've been building, how I've been using Versal's V0, about the grinder sprint? Would love to answer any questions that you might have. Feel free to drop them in the chat. Or I honestly, I don't know how to do the Twitter stuff for this, but maybe I can figure it out. There is probably something somewhere. Um, Again, this is my second stream. My second stream was supposed to be yesterday, but Abstract had a database error when I was going to launch, and I was streaming to no one. So that was fun. So today is my second. You are part of the journey of streaming, but I'm hoping to do some more of these. I think we've got Toli's going to be doing a stream tomorrow, so you can uh, vibe along with Toli, and then Friday we're going to have a team stream. I think I'm hosting that one. If not, Toli will be hosting it. I'm going to go to the live section on Twitter. I don't see a chat. Maybe it's the view. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's nothing in the chat. There's 120 people watching, but I don't think anybody cares. But that's how it is, and that's how it goes. I'm gonna scroll up, make sure I didn't miss anything in the comments. Scotty's been sick. He was gonna be on the stream yet. He actually was on the stream yesterday waiting, but Chicken Wizard said, I hope my custom isn't too much of a pain, but I like it already. I don't think it is. I think it's fine. Hey Hemi. Hey Rebirth. Hey Vanna. Thanks for the follow. RPTG, yeah, vibe coding for 12 hours. Like that's kind of the vibe, right? I mean, I think I spent maybe 6 hours yesterday, couple hours on Sunday, maybe like an hour today. So what you see here, probably the culmination of 9 hours of vibe coding. I got the original, like, just layout within, like, 10 minutes, right? The first layout was great, but then I started adding all these complex layers. Then I started thinking about other things to add into it, and then Irish said this morning, like, "What if you did some kind of, like, prize pool or raffle or something like that?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's actually a great idea." And then I implemented that kind of raffle system, um, in, like, I don't know, maybe, like, 5 minutes, and he was like, "Damn, you work really fast." I'm like, "Yeah, well, it's just I don't work really fast, the AI works really fast. I just have to tell it what I'm looking for and then address any errors or issues that might come up in the process of the new code being written." Hemi's gotta catch up tonight. Um, you let's see. Sorry if you addressed this already, but on testnet, I want to try testing things like having bearish NFTs in a wallet for gating. How do we do that on testnet? That's a good question. Um, I don't know if Scott's still in the chat. If Scott, maybe you can answer that one. I haven't done that yet. Um, it might be something where, well, I don't know. I mean, let's take a look at something real quick. So I'm going to go to bearish marketplace, the marketplace, get the bearish contract address. I don't know if he deployed it potentially. Let's see. You can technically ask V0 to bring assets from mainnet. Because this contract is probably not the same. Probably not. No. Scratch that. But yeah, you would want to get the contract address from mainnet, ask V0 to validate the assets on mainnet, but that you're building on testnet. So that's probably the way to go. I haven't done that yet. I've just been focusing on the token. When I deployed like the bearish GM mug creator, I did use the mainnet for token gating, and it worked pretty well. Well, actually, I didn't actually use token gating. I just used the data. But I had another game that I used that I set up with a wallet connect functionality just for mainnet. Really, just the testnet is if you're going to be deploying any smart contracts or doing some sort of integration with the grind token. If you are going down that route, then and you want to do both, I mean that's definitely something to kind of dig into and vibe along with. Let's see, we've got. Can I submit in mainnet then? Yeah, you can submit in mainnet if that's what you want to do. This is recorded, so yes, it will be shared to YouTube in probably about, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes. Are there any cheat sheets for additional coding resource or snippets for anything? The one thing that I shared, and I think if you look in the resources channel on the Bearish Discord, there are some helpful links and things like that. I believe I shared my kind of what I do in terms of how to integrate AGW wallet. I will say that I just take a very, let's see, we go to, where's it at? Developer. Trying to remember. Here we go. We'll go here. So if you go to like the docs.abs.xyz, if you're doing anything with abstract, this is a really good place to go. It gives you like the mainnet information, gives you the testnet information. I will say the Explorer is very out of date. There's another Explorer called explorer.testnet.abs.xyz. This is up to date, so you can definitely use that. But this one's out of date. That has information there. It also has like an introduction, what is abstract, getting started. If you are going to build your own smart contracts, like they recommend hard hat, but you've also got to use ZK Sync CLI so that you can interact with abstract on your contracts. One of the things that I'll do is I will copy and paste a lot of this information into my into my AI chat to educate it on what I'm using and what I want to use. So if I were to say like, you know, where's the probably in the architecture, um, or actually the global wallet. So if I wanted to do like a native integration with the wallet, I would copy and paste all this information, throw it into my AI chat and say, hey, this is an example of how to integrate abstract global wallet using React. Um, please, utilize this for the wallet connect on my app or my game. Now, you can do the similar thing with like dynamic or privy or wallet connect, Rainbow Kit. Rainbow Kit is probably the one that I think this is the one that a lot of folks use. There's also Third Web, and Wallet Connect. I think we use Privy for some of our integrations on the Bearish website, or Dynamic. Yeah. So there's those are kind of just like library of integrations, and then there's additional information about the abstract client and stuff like that. So, but the simplest one would be to just do like a native integration into some of these apps, especially if you're building with React, and you can just kind of copy and paste that in. In V0, most of that will understand this. So contract on testnet handles testnet token transactions, but owner validations need to be handled on mainnet. Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So yeah, where's your bear PFPs at? You need to update your PFP. I think I'm going to go back and watch everything recorded on YouTube. Yes, this will be shared on YouTube. All of the previous Builder Sprints ones are shared on YouTube as well. They are great resources, especially if you want to see me build something from scratch. That day one was the session that I hosted, and I just used V0 and showed just kind of how I built a little mini trivia game from scratch using V0 with a simple AGW native wallet integration. Yes, and that's the other thing. If you are vibe coding and you don't want to go down the road of like integrating with a wallet, you just want to create an app or a game, that's totally fine too. You can just do it for the fun of it. Or if you're like, I don't want to have to deal with smart contracts. I don't want to have to deal with, a test token. All that can be added later. Let me just focus on the game, which uses the IP of grind or making coffee or swap. Like I just want to build my vision for an app or a game. I don't want to worry about that. You can totally do that and just submit it to the apps and games track, and don't even worry about token integration, right? That might be good for some folks. Just so like I know what kind of game I want to make. I know the mechanics. I can mess around with Chat GPT to create some art assets and things like that, and integrate them in, make it look fun. Just really focusing on the gameplay and the experience. And that's solid. That's solid. Because if you come up with a really great idea, something that could be, developed further, or can have token integration added in, that could always be added later. So just, focus on what's going to be the most impactful for you, for your project and for your submission, and do that. I know some people just were kind of excited to kind of mess around with testnet and with wallet integrations and things like that. So we wanted to make it available, some information available for them as well, some resources, because this is a learning experience. Everybody's going to be coming to this process from a different place in their phase of vibe coding, and some people want a little bit more of a challenge. Some people just are just getting their feet wet, their fins wet, and so you just kind of come to this wherever you're at, do whatever you want, and just have fun. I had a kind of a one-on-one with Rock this morning, because he was like, I really want to build something. I've got some ideas. I want to build a game. I want to build, I want to see if this is something that will be useful for me to utilize. And then after like, maybe 15, 20 minutes, he ran into his first error. And then after that, he's like, yeah, I can see how this can become addicting. It's almost like a game. It's almost like we're like Sims devs. We're kind of just building stuff. But I think it's good. It's an unlock for a lot of people, and maybe they'll pursue some additional training or education, and continue to learn. All right. It can be proof of concepts as well. Yeah, it can totally be if you just want to mock something up, that's totally good. All right. You can still be considered. Yeah, thank you, Scotty. You can still be considered for the token integration track without integrating a token. Just make sure that you have a very clear description of how you see a token integration being done, so that we can help envision your vision, right? Um, building a bracket sniper. Yeah, Digital Trophies was building a bracket sniper during Abstract Madness, but didn't deploy it, so we all lucked out. Um, I was gonna send my bear back to AW or AGW, not AWS. AWS is Amazon Web Services. Yeah, you should probably hold your bears. Honestly, you should probably hold your bears in your AGW wallet. So your abs.xyz wallet. The reason for that is I believe they give a little bit of XP for holding NFTs in your wallet. I don't know what the actual amount is, but I've heard that. Could be a rumor, but most rumors are 50-50% true. And if it is true, might as well have them there and get the XP. I have really great ideas. If any team needs a great idea, man, yes, Zet, hop into the bearish Discord in the builder chat. Say, hey, if anybody looking for an idea, man, try to connect. You can also just do it on Twitter too. Just say, hey, I want to participate in the grind bearish builder sprint this week. I'm looking to join a team. See if we can see some teams in there. We also have our building in public, our bearish in public community on X. You can post in there as well, or in any of the Twitter group chats. Hopefully, you'll be able to find a team, or maybe you create your own team and see how it goes. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. All right. Got any tips for creating games? You feed into any ranks? I don't. I will be completely honest. My game knowledge set is very small. A lot of board games, a lot of sports games. I've messed around with. I mean, when I say board games, tabletop games. Dungeons and Dragons is probably the one that I play more frequently than anything else. Um, but there's a lot of ideas that you can probably mine. I would say that if you need help, maybe go to Chat GPT or Claude and start a conversation just in terms of ideation, right? Not asking them to build any code for you, but just say, try to work with like Chat GPT or Grok or Claude, and just give them a seed of an idea, and then ask them about gaming mechanics and things like that that might be important or fun to integrate, how to make it engaging, things like that. You can totally lean on AI for your ideation. Do it. Might as well speed up that process. Um, tabletop, yeah, yeah. I don't. I mean, I feel like Dungeons and Dragons was kind of like was always kind of, I don't know, labeled as a nerd game. I think it's because a lot of like depictions in movies and TVs and stuff, TV shows and things like that. It's always like nerds playing Dungeons and Dragons, but it's actually a really fun game. It's really a storytelling game, um, and a very team based type of gameplay. It's fun. So I like it. I didn't see the movie. I've been wanting to go see the movie. I heard it was pretty decent, but I've seen a lot of instances of things like that. It is the precursor, right, to some of the actual video games that are out there. All right, cool. Well, this I got about 4 minutes left here, so before this becomes super long and unwatchable, does anybody have any additional questions? Uh, if you want to follow, I'll follow back, especially if you're wearing a bearish PFP on abstract. That is very crucial. Um, and if you are looking for bears to follow, look at my profile, look at my following, people who I am following, and follow all those bears. I've just been trying to collect all the bearish PFPs on abstract, and you should do the same. So do that. All right. I think we're good. I don't see any messages in chat on X. which is awesome. But there's 158 people watching, so that is also cool. All right, well, thank you so much. I think I'll stop there, and I'll get this shared over to YouTube so that people can watch it and hopefully watch the first part, which has the most important stuff, and not this last part where it's just me chatting about stuff. So that would be great. All right, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Set up your projects. If you need testnet tokens, go get them. If you want to just launch your own token, go launch it. Dig into V0. If you have any questions or ideas for my project, feel free to tag me and let me know. I'll eventually get this to a point where I'll share it with folks, and people can test it out. And maybe it makes its way to mainnet. Who knows? Maybe it actually takes over the timeline as a solution for tackling all those botted farming engagement polls that we would love so much. Or maybe we just create polls for fun, right? I will say that I created the database for a reason, because I sent this to Tolly to test, and the first poll that he created was, how big is Tolly's penis? And he had options of no penis, 2-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch. Obviously, I had to vote no penis. So there we go. That's the alpha for today. And we will see you on the next one. Oh, I've got a fun outro, I think. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and play this. Thanks, everybody.
Motivated to do it, expose you like a nudist to a brand new level of energy. Get on down to it, connecting with the vibe when we see in our tribe. A lot of drama to survive, but we keeping it live. Ready for action, wanna relax, and I got the passion. Anyone asking, did he mean what he said? Best believe we get it cracking. Picking apart, state of the art, wisdom we giving and making a mark. If you wanna know, we get it lit with a spark. It's like that from the top to the bottom. Know we got 'em, and I'm gonna keep the party rocking with no problem. Free your mind, body, and soul. Let the music take control. You know how it goes every single time we flow. Stay if you want. I'm running, shake what you got. That funny, funny.